Before I start this video, I wanted to remind you that the channelings that I'm receiving in this video are from the trio. The trio is my Universal Energy Team, the Galactic Coalition, and Yazi, and her team from Yazi directly, and her team from Swaru Official. This channeling is coming from the trio, and I just wanted to let you know. Thank you so much for stopping in. Recently, I did I had a conversation with Yazi of Swaru Official, and she was telling us that she ended up going through, in a certain kind of accidentally, went through a vortex. So I started thinking, I mean, as I write and as I read these to you, a lot of questions come up. This is a question I had based on that. I asked, how does the transfer through a vortex work? This is the channeling I received. Warp and waft protective shield holds in the separated particles of your physical, in quotes, body. Your physical body turns back into light energy. The waft warp shield holds them together because you still need your physical body to hold your light while you are a living being. This is not a painful transition. It is a resonance that creates a harmony between physical and light body elemental structure. Changing the composition of the body to light and then back upon your request. So it creates a harmony between physical and light, so that you can go from one to the other. So then my next question is the body conscious of the change? Is our body conscious of changing from physical to light and back to physical? This is the channeling response. Your thought body is conscious of the change, but it is muted. So the process can go forth without overthinking. Your soul body suspends in wholeness within the protective warp waft. No one person of humanity has the complete process understanding. The details are held by separate individuals, not organizations. This is intentionally designed so the, in quotes, technology does not mesh together for use by malevolent forces. They said, no, this is me talking, no one person has the complete process. No one person has the complete understanding of how to change. I mean, I think we all do it, but no one person has the knowledge of how to take a physical body, move it into light, and move it back to physical as you go through a vortex. No one knows the whole exact process in order so it doesn't get into the hands of malevolent forces. That is why we haven't learned about this. We know some parts here and there. There's little bits and pieces, I think, little bits and pieces that people know about. And they say, I'm just saying, they say it's proof that you go through a vortex, but nobody knows how to intentionally do that, do the warp waft, take the physical body, move it into light, go through the vortex, and transfer it back to physical. That's why we don't know how to do that. But it is protective so that malevolent forces don't get a hold of it and use it. I'm going to continue the channeling. Humanity of the earth realm is not yet trusted with source capabilities. Some persons have a minute part of the process. Others have larger bits, yet never enough for the person to extrapolate what they know, what they have discovered, into enough of a process to achieve a bigger understanding or a conclusion. They won't be able to figure it out until it's time. A closer interpretation of how to vibrationally create the warp waft protective shield, and a closer reasoning of how to use vibrational resonance to separate the physical body into light body, physical to light. So they don't have, they have, some have smaller parts, some have larger parts, but never enough for the person to extrapolate, any one person to extrapolate what they know, what they have discovered, into enough of a process to achieve a bigger understanding. A closer interpretation of how to vibrationally create the warp waft protective shield. So they don't have they don't have the connections. They don't connect with each other. And even if they do connect with each other, they don't have enough to create a conclusion of how to. The process is precise without flaws. However, there is a margin of error within the geometry of vibrational resonance. The process is precise within margins. Even though individuals traversing then I said, why? They said, the process is precise within margins. And I said, why? And they said, even though individuals traversing vortex as well as portals are ascended to the above average resonance of the general humanity, who also have the passport necessary to know how the process can be used to traverse vortex spaces, the persons who can do this, still have the potential for heightened emotions that activate prior to the separation of physical and light, the heightened emotion of fear. Therefore, margins in the exactness are necessary to provide for this potential. They're really answering a lot. This is Yazi, the Galactic Overseers team, and my Universal Energy team. It's the trio. These are those three entities have become one, and they're giving us this information. They've combined their energies, so we have a little more detail. It doesn't happen much. It doesn't happen much. However, occasionally an oddity activates and must have corrective margins in case of an excited human event occurring. That's where it ended. That's it for this one. But so what they're saying is, even though there are people amongst us who know how to traverse, they know the process. They are, the words I'm getting right now, they're off-planet people, okay? So they are on our planet, but they're not from our planet. And in a certain way, you can consider some of these people from the Canovictus place that Yazi went to, okay? So they send people and they're able to go through, they're able to maneuver. And they called them, they're ascended. They're ascended to the above average resonance of the general humanity. Okay. So they don't, there are a few individuals who can do this. They don't want the people investigating to come to how to absolutely do it, but there are people that do it. Okay. I hope I'm being clear about that. But so they said, no, not everybody, they don't want malevolent forces getting a hold of it, but there still are people, for instance, like the Yazzie was able to do it. The committee craft was able to do it. There aren't humans in the committee craft, but Yazzie has a physical body, and they helped her do that change. Okay, so they're saying that there are above average. There's some that have above average resonance, and even though they have the above average resonance, and they can do it, and they do it all the time to translate information physically from one solar system to another solar system, one out there to us, even though they are above the normal resonance, there are still times when they panic. And that's my word. There's times when they panic, and in order to be precise but have margins, they give that marginal area for the occasional oddity that happens when they are traversing a vortex. Even though they know it, there's times that are unusual, and they called it, in case of an excited human event occurring. That's emotions. That's emotions. It's something happens and they don't expect it, but it happens, and they have that margin so they can move safely from physical to light and back to physical. That's wonderful. That's the point, is when we get to the point where we're obviously doing it either because we want to or accidentally, whatever, we have to know that it is a safe process, although it's possibly perceived at this point as dangerous. And that is so that the malevolent forces don't get a hold of it. But it also tells us that we have to know that it is a safe process. Yazzie went in and came out. That's they said it doesn't happen much. However, occasionally an oddity activates the emotional response, and it just happens. So that is why I said, why is the process precise within margins? And that's the answer. That's it for today. Thank you for being here, and please stay tuned because there's a lot more to come.